Hey everyone, it's me, Christopher from Fixins, and I would like to say sorry for leaving everyone hanging the last few weeks. I had a few reviews I wanted to film, but got caught up with Christmas and ended up not being able to record them. Again, I am sorry. As always, links in the description to skip to my opinion and what we can learn as filmmakers. A film that explores the dark and miserable town, Basin City, and tells the story of three different people all caught up in violent corruption. Sin City, also known as Frank Miller's Sin City, is a 2005 American neo-noir crime anthology film written, produced, and directed by Frank Miller and Robert Rodriguez. It is based on Miller's graphic novel of the same name. The movie stars Bruce Willis, Mickey Rourke, Clive Owen, Jessica Alba, Benicio del Toro, Brittany Murphy, and Elijah Wood. Sin City had a budget of $40 million and went on to gross $74.1 million in North America, and overseas the film made $84.6 million, totally just under $159 mil. Frank Miller was reluctant to release the rights to his comic books because of his personal experience on RoboCop 2 and 3. Rodriguez, a longtime fan of the graphic novels, was eager to adapt Sin City to the screen. His plan was to make a fully faithful adaptation following the source material closely, and not make it a translation, but a full-on adaptation. In hopes of convincing Miller to give him the project blessings, Rodriguez shot a proof of concept and presented it to Miller, who was happy with the results. The footage was later used as the opening scene of the film and also used to recruit Bruce Willis and others to the project. This is one of the first films to be shot primarily on a digital backlot. The camera used to shoot the movie was the Sony HDC 950, and primarily the actors were in front of green screen, which allowed for the artificial backgrounds to be added during the post-production stage. Even though it is quite common to see film shot entirely green screen nowadays, this was one of the first fully digital live-action films to do so. Sin City was shot in color and converted to black and white, which gave the film the ability to colorize certain parts of the film, like the eyes and the yellow bastard and stuff like that. It was also color corrected digitally, which is standard nowadays, to make it look more like a film noir as well as a comic book. All of this was super creative and unique and stands up today actually. Still looks great. Principal photography started on March 29, 2004, and a lot of the scenes were shot before every actor signed on. A stand-in was used, and the actual actors were digitally inserted into the spots in post-production. Robert Rodriguez has always been a believer in New Age cinema techniques, and has used these ideas in the past on Spy Kids 2, where he stated that green screen and computer-rendered effects are the future of filmmaking. And to be honest, he was right. Even though the film was directed by Miller and Rodriguez, the movie credited Quentin Tarantino as well. He was a special director who helmed the scene where Dwight talks to Jack Rafferty on the way to the pits. Because the film had two directors and a third special director, the Directors Guild of America refused to allow the two directors' names to be credited. So to battle this, Rodriguez said he would remove his name and entirely be a ghost director, but Miller wouldn't allow it. So in the end, Rodriguez resigned from the guild so the two could remain as directors. The movie won a few awards, including the Technical Grand Prize at Cannes 2005, as well as Mickey Rourke taking home a Saturn Award, an Online Film Critics Society Award, a Chicago Film Critics Association Award, an Irish Film and Television Award for his performance. It also received a few nominations at the 2006 MTV Movie Awards and the 2005 Teen Choice Awards. What can we as filmmakers learn from Sin City? This is a very unique film at the time. And I would even go as far to say that it's still unique in 2017. This movie was the perfect film to showcase what could be done with green screens and computers. It ushered in the standard green screen effects and compositing, but not in a way that looked out of place, like Sky Captain. But because Sin City decided to go with the visual style of the graphic novel, and we as the audience accept that it is meant to look fake looking, we know it is a motion picture comic book, if that makes sense. I think what we can learn is that even though certain parts of technology may be in its infant stages in the film world, If you can creatively think of a way to use the disadvantages of these technologies to help mold your story, then do so. If it is fake looking, why not try to do something that creatively works in that advantage? Because Sin City came out swinging and showed the world what could be done with computers and green screens. So think long and hard at what we have in our arsenal and try to create something that hasn't been done yet. And maybe it will become the Sin City of 2017. The anthology aspect of the film is unique as well. Well, it showed us a form that worked for this style of storytelling. We start the film with introducing Josh Hartnett's character as an assassin. We then go to the first part of The Yellow Bastard with Bruce Willis, and go to The Hard Goodbye with Mickey Rourke. Then it is The Big Fat Kill with Clive Owen, and back to The Yellow Bastard Part 2, and finish with Josh Hartnett's character again. The way that they edited this film was a perfect way to do an anthology film. It feels like the story's main character is the city, and the other characters are playing supporting roles. The stories, even though are not connected, have elements of one another bleeding into each other. It is a unique way of telling the tale by breaking it up into different short stories where we are introduced to certain characters, then head out to different stories and come back. I am not sure if this was planned when they began the film or they decided to do it in the editing stages, but I'm going to say most likely the editing stage, because when the extended film was released, we don't have the breaks in between the stories. We finished The Yellow Bastard without a break. We also have a credit scene after each story. So I'm assuming that they reworked the edit in post to be more of a continuous narrative. And in my opinion, it works well. It may even be the best anthology film I have ever seen. Now, I am not thinking too hard into that, it's just a thought. So I think what we can learn is that the story, no matter how good it is on paper, and it needs to be polished before shooting, can be completely turned around or saved in the editing stages. For your next film, try to let your editor, hopefully someone with fresh eyes, then the director or the writer, let them run wild with a different way of presenting the story. Even though you may want to keep it faithful to your ideas, it may become something that is spectacular instead of just good. So, if your budget allows, and you don't mind letting someone run with your film, let your editor try and produce something amazing in the editing room. Even though it is off the script, it may help your story out. I have seen both styles of Sin City, the theatrical and the extended individual stories, and I much prefer the theatrical. On to my opinion. Sin City is a great example of a film that creatively used infant technology to its advantage. It blends comic elements with real humans and objects. It helped usher in the films that we have today. Ironically, most of the films that strictly use green screens are, well, comic movies. But that's beside the point. The acting in Sin City is great. Rodriguez gets his actors and actresses to pull out some memorable performances. He also jump-started Mickey Rourke's career again for a bit. And when you watch The Hard Goodbye, you'll understand why Rourke was a force to be reckoned with. This movie is an anthology film, but doesn't really feel like it. Like I mentioned before, it feels like the main character of Sin City is the actual city, and the characters we follow are just supporting it. Rewatching the film for this review, I had the same feelings that I had back when the film was first released. I felt that it is unique and a breath of fresh air. The movie grabbed hold of my attention in the first scene and didn't let up until the end, which felt like a solid way to finish this film. We got just the right amount of storytelling. Even though we got a sequel almost 10 years later, which I couldn't finish unfortunately. Lightning doesn't strike twice in the same place very often. I felt that the first film ended perfectly and we didn't need to see more. I would rate Sin City as a 75 out of 100. Check it out if you haven't seen the film, or if you have, watch it again. It holds up extremely well and will remind you of a time when, if used correctly, technology can give you lightning to strike with. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have you seen Sin City? What do you think of my review? Let me know in the comments below, and if you like this video, please share and like.